Hello everybody, my name is Nicole and today I'll be talking to you about how sensory integration can negatively affect children. I have a professional experience that happened in the clinic that I work for where some of our kids were becoming really hard to deal with after they've had any sensory play at all. They actually all share a common occupational therapist, which is great. And he told us that they can actually become addicted to sensory integration, which is very interesting to me. So I looked it up and I found a couple of great articles about it. Some of these kids that I worked with were unable to pull themselves away from sensory play, such as the yoga ball or sand or rice, for more than 5 minutes at a time. And it's really hard to help them find that balance when something like this happens to them. And I've never heard of it before until we paired with the occupational therapy clinic to provide respite on the weekends for some of our families. And he sat us all down and we talked about a couple of the clients that we have that they have as well. And he described to us what might be happening to them and what actually might be happening when you give these children too much sensory time as they habituated, or an easier way to say that is they become addicted to it. So it's really hard for them to pull themselves away because once you start giving it to them, all they want is more. I had a client who went from being able to concentrate and communicate with me for 10-20 minutes at a time to not being able to do any of that without her breaks, being able to bounce on the ball or look out the window at the leaves moving. Just she became addicted in a sense to sensory play and self-stimulation, and it was really tough for me to watch because it could have been my fault that that was like that, because I let her have that time and I gave her the resources to develop this said addiction to sensory integration. Um, a lot of our kids do use sensory integration during therapy, which is hard for me because I saw what happened to a couple of our clients. It wasn't just this little girl, it was 4 or 5 of them. Um, I do have a couple of parents who see other occupational therapists that push sensory integration. So we do follow the protocol. We have taken the training for the weighted vests and the music, and it seems to help them cope at some points in time, but these same kids are a little bit higher functioning than the 4 or 5 children that just could not separate themselves from their sensory play. I read a great article by Rogers and Ozanoff about sensory integration and its negative effects on some children. And they actually found that hyporesponsiveness and more rapid habituation happens in some children with autism. So it's really tough to pull them away from it. And I mean, it's definitely possible, though. We have spaced out a lot of sensory time for some of our kids that we see. We put them on schedules so that they're still able to curb that craving, but be able to work and to listen and to play at the same time. Um, it's actually pretty cool because we got one of our kids down. He was on the yoga ball for 20-30 minutes at a time. And it's really hard to work with him when he is like that because you can't get him off of it without him throwing himself into a tantrum. And we put him on a sensory schedule of 5 minutes, I think, every hour and a half. And we started out with 5 minutes every half an hour, and he worked his way back up to 5 minutes every hour and a half really quickly, like within the month. So that was really cool to see. But I've had a lot of experience with children who seem to become addicted to it, and it's a really scary thing because once they start, they can't stop, and that can lead to more health issues in the future with them bouncing on their hands. It can lead to a lot of physical issues, and it can be very tough to work with them as they get older because they're just going to crave it more and more. But if we keep an eye out for them and we help them and help them get over this addiction in a sense, we can really help them learn and grow. So I hope that you all enjoyed my the adversiveness of sensory integration, and the link to the article is below. Thank you.